Good evening, this is Pine Leaf Needles, and welcome to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO, and here at LOTRO Players. And tonight we have with us Draculetta,
Hey, everybody.
Atheros,
Hey.
Braxwolf.
Hello, Lotro.
At least we finally have someone who sounds halfway cheerful. Mystery,
Hey there.
Lily Kate,
Hello, everybody.
and Andang.
Hey, everybody.
And tonight we will have our review of Update 13. But before we go into that, we will start with this week's news, which is not much for at the game news. Our biggest news, other than the putting out of Update 13.1, is that Hobnanigans.
Just call it a stupid festival and leave it at that.
Okay, yes. Hobnanigans is active. Yes, if you ever wanted to hit a chicken with whether that's a hurley or a hockey stick, I'm not sure, but whichever one it is, if you wanted to hit a chicken with one of those, then it is your chance to do it. Just go to the brief fields. Now, anyone have any comments about this event?
There's something I like to hit with a hockey stick, but it's not a chicken.
Wow.
Ooh, this is getting vicious already.
And they're not hockey sticks, they're just plain everyday sticks.
Oh, one of those then.
You say that they're not anyway special sticks then?
No, apart from there's blue and there's red, and I hate red, so I'm never going to use one.
Yes, that's what Brannick said because he's an Everton fan.
Well, I don't go, but no. Blue's the colour of intelligence, so that's why I choose that one.
Hang on a minute. Let's call back to how come Brannick is an Everton fan?
Why not?
Oh.
There's a
If you
whole
like-
podcast series there. Okay, let's keep the show going.
Yes. I that won't be very brief, but let's just say I think it's partly because Tim Howard is their goalkeeper.
Yep.
Okay, whatever that means.
Krell's asking
I
everyone
really
to
like
pronounce-
Hobnanigans, everybody.
Krell in the chat was asking everyone to pronounce the name of the festival.
Hobnanigans.
Hobnanigans.
Hobnobigans.
Abnabigans.
Anyway, my pronunciation is Hobnanigans when I get to the pronunciation I'm attempting to do, so sometimes I like to call it Hobgoblinses when I'm having trouble.
They probably invented it.
The Hobgoblins invented Hobnanigans. That
They're
actually
evil
fits. Yes, I think that they are evil enough.
Who else would come out with those reward
I don't
prices?
think you should all really call it Hobnobigans, because that's a little bit rude in some cultures.
What, Hobnonigans is rude in some cultures?
Yeah.
I would think hitting chickens with sticks would be considered rude in some countries.
In the animation, there's no hitting with the stick, you kick them.
Oh, that's even better.
Like, you pick up the stick, but then you don't use it. You
Yes,
actually
and where
do
that's
it.
where that
It's
like you're playing
goes.
Fable.
You're just distracting him with the stick so you can kick him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Then you get the chicken kicker title.
What it is it unravels into this tube with a robe on it that you put on or something. I
See.
really like playing chicken hockey, chicken football. I enjoyed it. It's fun. Nobody else likes it.
I haven't tried it yet,
Well-
so.
It's something that I could give or take. I don't think I'm viciously against it like Draculetta is, but I'm certainly not jumping up and down saying, "No, let's go either."
Well, yesterday we did kin on kin teams for some of the time, playing on the big field, and it was a lot of fun. And when somebody kicked the chicken and got it stuck on the wall, we just had a bit of a party. That's all. So for 8 minutes. So.
Yeah, it sounds like that you guys then are already doing what Brannick said is they should allow us to invent our own leagues. It looks like you're already halfway to doing that.
Yeah, but it would be good if they had that in an official capacity, or even a notice board where you could like enter your team, or that it was like kin on kin
See?
only.
You and Brannick would have such fun together, Lily.
See, he should come over to Landrover and join us there, where we have fun with games that are meant to be fun.
That's because you're a role-playing server.
I don't
You
think
try to
I'm a
make
role
you try to
player.
turn anything
I
into
just
fun.
play.
You make it sound. You make it sound like you're trying to enjoy the game or something.
No, I mean, there was a couple of times I did tire of it a little bit, especially when I was lagged and I couldn't even get the chicken and we lost and it was sad and I wanted to take my chicken and go home. But
Yeah, well,
I just wanted to get a little bit of content later.
see,
When
that
I had
was
half of
my
my
my first experience of the game was the lag, and I just wanted to take the chicken and go home. So,
Yeah,
fine. Then we'll
when it
take-
was like that.
All right, then. Let's take the chicken home and go to the store sales.
That's a good idea. We made it way off topic.
Oh,
That's a shame. I didn't get to
Alright, then.
rant more.
no,
Well, if
yeah.
you want to rant, Othelros,
Yeah.
we can let you rant a bit. Why exactly? Because you kind of mentioned the rewards a bit, but what about the rewards and things make it just be so upsetting?
Well, basically, I believe because they're different sizes of game, the winning normally nets you 10 tokens, and
Oh,
losing
small
gives you
games.
5 for the small ones. Supposedly, the larger ones gives you more. But there have obviously been bugs where even if you win, you get the normal 5 tokens for losing. Going around to the different vendors, I looked, and about the cheapest thing I saw was, I think, 150. So, assuming you lose every match like I would, because I suck, that is a lot of times to run through. And this current one was open for about 3 days. What is it? I think it's closing today, isn't it?
Yeah.
Assuming it's about that time for the next other times they open it, it's ridiculous how long you're going to have to be working on it just to get one item. And there are ones on there. I believe the most expensive is a chicken pet, which is over 2,000 tokens.
That's only 30 games, though, of losing.
Is that the scrapper one?
can I ask
I
a
think
quick
so.
question,
Plus a token.
please?
Yes.
You've got your teams, okay? So the one I did yesterday was 3 blue, 3 red. Do you have to stand around and wait for full teams, or if there's
Yes.
only 2 of you, can you be 1-on-1?
No, you have to wait for all the sticks to be picked up
See, and
before the
then
game
you've got
will start.
Fantastic design.
well, that means that your calculations, Ethelros, are out because with time differences in the world, I'm going to be standing there for at least 6 hours waiting for another 5 people to show up.
Nah.
Which only serves to prove my point.
You need to find an Aussie team.
Yeah, at the very
yeah, well,
least, I think they need to make it
Yeah.
be a longer term festival or whatever you want to call it.
Final point I
Event.
make for the costs, at least, is remember the 4th anniversary.
Yeah.
4th year anniversary. Just remember that. Think back on it, and you'll see the problems.
But I don't want to do that.
All right. Well, let's not dredge up some bad old news and let's go into the store sales. Draculetta.
The free sample of the week through the 15th is plus 5,000 enhanced reputation supply. And you get one of those. You use coupon code REP77. That's REP77. And of course, as always, that is one code per account. So use it wisely. And for the sale this week, 25% off. It's actually a decent sale for once. The Roomkeeper class, Warden class, character slots, and Slayer Deed Boost, all 25% off this week. Also, this weekend, as all through May, they are doing weekend specials. This weekend through May 11th, so which would be Sunday, is 75% off the Experience Disabler, 60% off the War Steed cosmetic dyes, and 35% off Tomes of Will. So it's a decent sale for once. I'm glad to see a sale worth actually participating in.
Yay.
Yeah, and Dang, you sound like you're enthusiastic about this sale. Any particular reason?
Well, just not anything I need.
All right.
Well, I
But
thought it was a good sale.
75% off the XP is pretty good, but I mean, don't really need it.
It might be worth noting if you want to play a Bjorning and you're out of character slots, might be a good time to pick one up.
That's true.
What I did.
Well, yes, yes, that will come in handy. That way, you don't have to be sitting there paying full price for that desperate character slot that you need.
Unless you have 17 characters on all 29 servers.
No,
Mystery.
but I got Langevin.
Mystery.
Yeah.
Well, Mystery has multiple accounts.
Yeah, I'll just make one of those on one of the other servers that have only got 13 characters on them.
All right. Let's go on to the LOTRO Players News, and we'll begin with the video highlights, the theme for Rohan. Ending.
Yeah, so this was actually a joint effort with Taylor Davis and Chance Thomas, which I was actually surprised to find out that she actually did in the original track, I believe, with her, and I think that it's a fantastic job. She's a really she's probably the second most popular violin YouTuber on the internet, definitely in the nerd culture. She does all sorts of stuff from Legend of Zelda to LOTRO to World of Warcraft to really just about any type of video game music she does violin pieces for, and just does a fantastic job in this video. And there's side by side with different places in LOTRO, and it's a really good video. I recommend everyone check it out. And it's already has it's getting close to 1 million views right now, so it's people
Yay.
are really enjoying it. Yeah.
Yes, an excellent piece of music.
Mm-hmm.
And now let's go on to LOTRO Players Adventures episode 14, which is all about trolls.
Multiple kinds, right, Athelros?
Yes. Some may be captain shaped.
Yes.
Yes, we ran into a few trolls along the way, and I have a feeling that our next episode, number 15, I heard a rumor that there might be one or two other additional trolls in there too.
Yeah, well, that might explain why the title's called More Trolls.
Yes.
There also might be some more familiar ones.
Indeed.
All right, and Lily Kate. We had a Lily Kate's Creatures, and Lily.
Oh,
What
so
are
my
these?
turn.
Yes.
I did an impromptu Lily Kate's Creatures this week because, although this is not my first time running through the Great River region, it is the first time that I've tried to complete all the content, and I missed this bit the first time round. I don't know why.
Wow, that's a big thing to miss.
It's a huge thing to miss, but I'm telling you, the pleasure I had last Thursday when I stumbled onto Langeval and Maneldor when I thought they were going to be some ranger with some sob story about how he's rubbish and everything, and I had to do his job for him.
Yeah.
Turned into the most delightful in-game experience I've had since I first stumbled into Bag End. So I
Wow.
was really happy. It made my day, and I got all these screenshots so that I could just make a quick episode to share with everybody. Yeah, the most fun. It was great. It was really good. I didn't expect to meet these, and my computer seems to have frozen up. So my favourite screenshot is the one where I'm pretending to fly. I got that with a spin emote, and I think that one looks really good. And I just wrote up a little story. And I nearly got eaten by the most enormous spider. So yeah, go and take a look. Leave us a comment. And if, of course, you like me haven't found these two before because you was running to get a warhorse really quickly, go back to Stankard and find them. Yeah, it's really cool.
I remember
Just
one
quest in the
time-
Great River anyway. It's a very underrated zone.
Yeah.
It's one of my favourite areas. It really is. I really do enjoy the whole story.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why when I'm doing the character that I'm currently taking through Dunlin and all that, is that halfway through the Dunlin content, this is the character that's trying to do all the quests. I made sure I went over to the Great River so I could do the first half of the Great River, including this area right here. Because yes, you don't always do it when you're rushing through things. I remember one time I was playing and I was watching the chat from the Council of the Secret Fire come up, and one person was put a time in chat. Oh, what? I saw an eagle. It's Landerval.
I did exactly the same thing down Kin Chat. And then I did it again when I found Maneldor. Went, there's not one eagle, there's two eagles. And then I did it again when I got the title. So I kind of geeked out 3 times in a row. And my poor kin mates are going, yes, there, Lily Kate, well done. Yes, I'm sure. Take some pictures, go on. Go play.
Sounds like Lonely Mountain.
Yeah. It was a
So-
great day, yeah.
So what about this sprint that you're having for smelling the roses?
Oh, the races. Well, today is the first day that you can actually enter the 2 races that I'm running for the Spring Racing Carnival. And I'm running a standard horse, which includes faction horses and festival horses. And that's called Smell the Roses Shire Sprint, because if you do have the trait, the riding skill where you get to go at plus 78, I think it is, then for this race you will need to use that skill so that everybody's racing at the same speed.
Right.
So yeah, to enter this race, and there are 19 places for each race, because the competitors will be in a raid with myself and the course judges. So there's only 19 places, and 2 of them are already taken because I've got 2 entries already. Send me an in-game mail, read the link with the rules and the regulations and the race course so you know where you're running, because if you miss the checkpoints, you'll be disqualified. So, yeah, enter the race. Great prizes for this race. And, of course, I'm running a Warsteed sprint straight after. So, 1 race around the Shire for regular horses and 1 race around the Shire for Warsteeds. 19 places in each. And the prizes are, 3rd place is, I think it's 5 gold and 500 turbine points.
Yeah.
2nd place for each is 10 gold in game and 500 turbine points, and the winners get 15 gold and 1,000 turbine points, and that is each race. And you also get entered into the Brie Cup as well at the end of the whole event of the Spring Racing Carnival. So we've got music as well, and hopefully we should have enough judges to be able to run a fair race. So sign up.
There are a lot of rules.
There are, but I had to put all those rules down because you have to state the obvious, otherwise people will start trying to cheat. And I want to run an honest race and a fair race.
All right. Very well. And we have no Brax pick this week because we have a review today. A review for Update 13. And Dane, you like to take over this section, right?
Yes, I do, Pine Leaf. That's because, as many of you know, I've been doing reviews for a long time. Way back in the CSTM days, we had a thing called Update Talks, and it's been going on ever since. And so now it's time to go on to the Update 13 review. We will be factoring in Update 13.1 changes as well, just because some of them go hand in hand, and I think they were probably meant to go in Update 13 and just got delayed, so might as well include them here. So anyway, we're going to go on to the review, and as always, because he does such a great job each time, and he goes through it so many times that he can't not know what goes on. Pine Leaf, if you want to tell us what went on in the epic story this time.
Yes, I have gone through the epic story a few times. We begin where the previous chapter left off.
Oh, by the way, spoiler alert.
Oh, yes. We do need a spoiler alert here because, yes. So, therefore, if you don't want to hear what happens, then I suggest you plug your ears for a few minutes.
Well, I'll hang up now.
Yeah, I should go for a coffee as well.
Yeah. Very well. We start out at Helm's Deep right after the Battle of the Hornburg, and we first talk to various people there in order to send out writers to spread the news that we won and that we're all still alive, which is probably very important news to some of the people around there. And the second thing is to help to tend to the injured. So after we do that, we then get ready to head off. We're sent into the Hornburg itself to talk to some, so you can get some rest. And despite them saying they'll get a place for you to sleep, they skip over the sleep part and go directly into the journey towards Isengard.
Well, your character
So
sleeps and then wakes up.
Well, usually when our character sleeps, the stuff tends to happen, and it's not usually enjoyable.
Right.
To say the
Yeah.
least, especially in Volume 1, right?
Right. So therefore, we then head out, and first we go through the makeshift forest that appeared in front of Helm's Deep near the end of the battle there. And after that, and after Legolas sees some interesting things there, we then continue on our way, and then we meet some old friends who finally, after all this time, have arrived in Rohan. Yes, I know this is a little bit earlier than the books specify, but from the way the story is told, let's face it, Peter Jackson took a lot more liberties with this story than Turbine is taking with it. So there shouldn't be too many complaints about having the Great Company arrive a little bit early.
Pineleaf, really? You think that having elves at Helm's Deep is more lore-breaking than the Dunedain showing up a few days early? I mean, really? That's your argument?
Sounds like a good one to me.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sounds reasonable.
I mean, there were good reasons for it, and that's really the main thing. It's just
Yeah,
it worked better for the story they were trying to tell.
For the story
Yeah.
they're trying to tell and for the media they're working on, I think it worked a lot better than trying to adhere to it. Now, originally, when we made our prediction, we were trying to predict whether it was going to end with the breaking of Saruman's staff or the arrival of the Grey Company. And, of course, I at least was thinking, well, the Grey Company arrives afterwards, so they have to end it there because you have to have the Grey Company arrive. Well, Turbine decided to switch the order so that they can end it with Saruman's staff breaking
So
and
we
have
were
the Grey
all
Company
right.
still arrive.
Okay. I'll agree with that, sure.
What was that?
We were all right.
Yeah, we were all right. Yes, okay. Yes. Therefore, after the Great Company arrives, we then continue along our way, and we eventually arrive in Isengard. We're given a few quests in there in order to... First of all, we talk to Merry and Pippin, of course. Grab some pipeweed from the guardhouse. Then we go around, investigate what's going on in Isengard to make sure everything is fine. And once we do that, We go underground, we kill a few orcs, we come back up. We're trying to look for
Some hard
the
to
ranger
kill
that was
orcs.
taken captive. What?
Oh yeah,
Some hard to kill orcs.
Or the
Yeah,
orcs
some
kill
hard.
you.
Oh yes, those are rather. Yes, do not assume that those are going to be easy orcs because they may be. I'm trying to think, are they normals or are they signatures?
Signatures.
Signatures.
Oh, they are signatures. Okay, yes,
Mhm.
they are signatures, and they are tough signatures. They're
Especially
not
with the
loud.
difficulty increase.
Yes,
That
and
was a
those.
wake up call.
Oh yeah, yes, that was a wake up call. Between the difficulty increase and the buffs that those guys get, it was quite a fight. After that, we then are sent up to go into another place where we are trying to look for a proper. We're trying to find a Lothran deer, and we go into there, and we eventually run into an old friend of ours, and that is Gunang. Gun- well, well, it means no name anyway, so I'll just call her no name.
There you
Gunane,
go.
I think is how you pronounce it.
Hmm.
Yeah, Gunang. Yes, okay, thank you. Anyway, we run into her after all these times, who's been a pain in us ever since you do the Fem quest in Angmar. So we have a confrontation with her, and I'm not going to give a spoiler on exactly how that's resolved, but we do eventually do find Lothrindir and free him. Then after that, we leave there, and Gandalf has his confrontation with Saruman, though obviously that's done through a cinematic sense. It was pretty difficult to do that in game with the technology they have.
Yeah.
And and after
Not
that,
Gandalf play then.
we get our reward for finishing Volume 3.
Yay.
Which
We're
is
done.
creepy, but that's besides
The
the point.
creepiest reward
Oh.
ever.
Well, we actually there are two of them because you not only have that, but you also have the portrait of the
The
Great Khan.
portrait is a nice touch because it's
Indeed.
like a throwback to the original one.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Overall, I
that-
think they were good rewards.
Yes. And if you like Second Agers, they also had two Second Age symbols in there in addition to that.
Gotta be honest, I'm not ever gonna use those.
While you're trying for First Agers?
No, I'm just not gonna try with legendary items anymore.
Ah, okay.
Not with having to make them twice this year.
Yeah.
Well, there is that little tricky thing when we have the upcoming bumps for the parts of Gondor. All right, and that concludes the epic story. Andy?
Yeah, so thanks finally for going over that. We really do appreciate you doing that every time. So let's go around the horn. What is your favorite epic quest or moment of the epic quests? And Athelros.
Is that for book 13 or
Yeah,
book 14, or is that for volume 3?
for just the new book.
Okay.
You said horn. That was a funny pun. I hope it is a pun.
Anyway, Athelros. Go ahead.
What am I saying?
What's your favorite?
Nobody knows.
What your favorite book quest? The new book that came out. What your favorite quest
Oh,
is? Out of those?
The favorite moment,
Yep.
like the part of it, it would have to be again because Piney didn't spoil it, even with the spoiler. But that part where you think it's gone one way and then it goes the other way again.
Yeah.
That's about as details as I can be. That is my favorite moment, mainly because I'm a huge fan of Lothrandir because he is like the only competent ranger among them.
Yeah.
So I was really like happy at the same time as, oh my god, how could you do that to me at the same time? They actually pulled that stud, but it was very well done. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Drac.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. The Lothrandir and the No Name story, how that ends and what happens, is just amazing.
All right. Brax.
I actually liked it when the Grey Company showed up. That was really
Yeah.
kind of a fun moment for me. I love it when they bring characters back. Lothrendir also. If you think about it, man, we left him down there a long time. I mean, this was Rise of Isengard that we left him down in the pits of Isengard there, and in fact, it's been so long that going through it again the second time or third time when we left him there, I kept thinking, I wonder if they're ever going to do anything with him, or if they're going to, did Turbine forget that he's there?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think both of those moments were really good. But I like to see the recurring characters that you've spent time with come back, and they finally accomplished their goal of uniting with Aragorn, and so that was a cool moment, I thought.
Yeah, I wonder if they write out like all the characters' lines and already had this written when they released the original books way back when.
Yeah.
So maybe it wouldn't be so hard to forget it.
Seeing the Rangers finally meet up again is like escorting a lost child to his mother.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's a good experience at Thalros and not a bad one.
Well, they
Alright.
both need his help about the same amount.
Okay. Mist, what was your favorite part, or did you do it?
Well, I'll get back to you because, I haven't done it yet.
And look, I don't think you've done it yet. So, Pine Leaf, what was your favorite part?
Oh, it has to be the part with Lothendir and No Name.
Yeah, the Rangers showing up is pretty awesome, but I have to agree that was probably my favorite part as well. Alright, well, was the ending of Volume 3 what you wanted, or did it exceed expectations? And let's just go around the horn again, so Tharos.
Short answer, yeah, it's exactly what I wanted out of it. It beat Volume 1, which is a tough thing to do. And yeah, it pretty much is exactly what I wanted and expected Turbine's very talented writers to do.
Alright. Brax, what do you think? I guess I went out of order, but anyway, Brax, what do you think?
Oh, I'm all confused. We're out of order. I think it was about what I expected. I wasn't sure how far they were going to take, how far they were going to get into what the books did as far as the conversation with Saruman and all that kind of stuff. And I was wondering how they were going to handle, again, kind of the time-shifting element that we talked about before with the flooding of Isengard. And I think they did a pretty good job. I don't know if this is a question coming up later, but I think they could have taken the flooding part a little bit further. That would have been nice to see.
Yeah.
But, I thought it was pretty good. I don't know that it exceeded expectations, but it certainly met them.
Okay. Drac?
Yeah, we'll have to agree. I don't think it exceeded my expectations, but I'm really happy with how it ended, and it was very well written, I think, which kind of goes without saying because, Turbine does have some just amazing writers.
Yeah, Maid of Lions and her team do a fantastic job. Alright, Pine Leaf.
Writing wise, I think it went very well. It's unfortunately, Turbine's tech wasn't quite up to executing the confrontation with Saruman, and I think that's the one shame we have in the entire thing, that it wasn't possible to show that properly, because it would have been really nice to see that staff shatter.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to agree. Instead of the epic battle system, I would have rathered the flooding of Isengard, I gotta be honest. I know that sounds crazy, but that's just where my priorities are, because it's such a cool moment in the books, because that's the final vanquishing of your enemy, and to not have that shown is just kinda, I don't know. It's a little bit less than what I expected, but at the same time, the actual characters and things that the epic story focuses on did a fantastic job, and so I think that met my expectations for the story that Turbine's actually trying to tell. They're not telling necessarily what's going on with Saruman, they're trying to tell what's going on with the characters they created. So in that sense, I think they did a great job. Alright. Anything else on Epic Story before we move on?
Nope.
Alright, side quests. So there weren't very many side quests with this update, to say the least. What What did you guys think of the new Intwood end game? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you wish that it wasn't even there? What do you guys think? Atheros.
I pretty much stopped doing the dailies after about a week or two. Maybe because I'm just lazy and I had no motivation for it. But the actual quests themselves, like the objectives you do, are interesting enough. They're on par with about anything else. The actual writing isn't like really there. It's just like, here's a problem, go fix it, and that's fine. The actual end game they created is kind of the way they built it. I think we talked about this before in the previous show, but it's really weird the way they designed it. In that it's kind of like you get this horn that follows you around, and you do quests for it, but sometimes the quests aren't there in that location. So you go around seeing if they're there on that particular day.
Yeah. Oh,
And
they
then-
changed that in 13.1, by the way.
How does it work now then?
Oh, those mobs will spawn every day now.
All of them.
Yeah, that was one of the changes they made.
It's not like contrary to the point they were making before the update launched, like that this is going to be, you never know what it's going to be like until you get there type thing.
They decided there are too many complaints, I think.
Okay then. No, I did not get that horn pet, by the way. I tried it once with the one quest you get, and I got 10 tokens, and I heard everyone else was getting 10 tokens, so I thought, nope, not doing it. The crafting resource instances they put in too, those actually I do like. The way they're designed is, I think, a lot better than the Moria and Hybold resource instances. They kind of feel more like an adventure through a place rather than here's a crafting instance, go kill things. The Scholar one particularly I quite enjoyed, because there's a little touch there that people will know if they've gone through it. But yeah, those at least were fun.
All right. So some parts fun, but some parts not. All right. Drac, what do you think?
Did not bother with the Antwood quest at all, and have no desire to do them.
All right. And Pineleaf, what do you think about them?
All right, I did pretty much most of it. I did not do all the dailies. I went through. Well, I did the dailies once. I did not do them repeatedly. I've only done them with one character, really.
Then they're not dailies.
Now, who's speaking logic now?
Beating at your own game.
Oh, everybody's such a critic.
Right. Very well. So I've done, and essentially I found concerning my view of the dailies, at least, which is why I've only went through each series once, is that I know some people have compared them to Hoodbald, but I felt that in Hoodbald there was a major difference. I felt like I was accomplishing something. I was rebuilding a town. Here, we're doing all these quests for these Ents who should be 100 times more competent at dealing with these situations than we are. Because they're wood problems. They're problems in the wood. Ents should know how to do that. They've been doing it for thousands of years.
Especially considering the fact that like this forest isn't even burnt down or even like remotely like challenged. It's just a little startled. And
Yes.
like we could be so much more effective like replanting the complete deforestation that was done by Saruman as opposed to doing this. Like when I heard that this quest was coming in, I figured that we would be like in the trenches in the middle of like this huge burnt area and have to, start planting saplings and hopefully like start to grow a forest from there.
That would be logical.
Wouldn't it? Yeah, I mean, that's what I would think would be good, as opposed to like this beautiful forest that has a few like enemies, and I don't know what they were thinking. But
Right. Yeah, okay, there are a few bugs here and there. So what? Ents
I
can handle
will-
bugs. They've been handling them for thousands of years. So, yes, I thought that the premise of it was just shaky. And I would think that the horns that you're planning, I think the entire thing should have been, just as Andang mentioned, is planting these saplings in a deforested area so that we can help this place to start to regrow.
That's right. I mean, the equivalent to like in reverse would be like if an ant like came into my house and started to brush my teeth and like fold my clothes and do stuff like that. Like it's stuff that they can do and handle. It's not they don't need our help.
It takes
Right.
a long time to do that.
Oh yes, they will not do that in a hasty manner.
Very slow folding. Oh goodness. Who's next? Brax, what do you think?
I don't know.
I did about as much in the Entwood as to realize that it kind of felt like Balewood to me, which, as you guys know, I wasn't a big fan of.
No, you weren't.
I ran around a little bit. I went and found Treebeard's house, and that was about enough for me. I kind of left it right there and decided that dailies weren't my thing. So, yeah, my dog's barking.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I'm in the same boat. I just didn't have a desire to do these quests at all, really. They just felt like... I mean, it would be one thing if it was in the deforested area. I might be a little bit more willing to do it. But, I mean, it's a grind, and it's not even that interesting of a grind because of where it's taking place. So
This makes me wonder, too. Are they going to try and do some kind of endgame for all of the mini updates?
that's a good question, actually. Let's go around the horn here. Let's actually make that be a prediction. Brax, what do you think? Do you think it will be?
I guess I tend to think that it will be. I don't know. Well, let me take that back. Maybe not, because this was kind of the bolt-on end to Helm's Deep. So, but of course they did have the epic battle. See, I'm waffling.
Well,
I wasn't ready for my own question.
let's say once a year. Do you think that like once a year there will be something like that?
Yeah, I think they're going to try and do some kind of end game for every minor update. Not the dot updates, obviously, but the mini updates. They said they were going to do the 4 of them. I think they're going to do that. I think they'll probably be in the form of dailies for the most part, but they may sneak in an epic battle.
Okay.
For Jack.
Davros, what do you think?
I think it's possible they do that. Maybe not in the form of this exact type of thing, but I would expect some form of maybe a repeatable, maybe like a reputation faction to get things with. Something along those lines. Just give players something to do for like a few weeks or maybe a month after the update's gone live. I mean, so yeah, I think it's possible that they would have some of this with each update, which is, I think, is what you'd expect. Most LOTRO updates have usually had something that you can do gradually. And I
Okay.
wouldn't be surprised if it's any different for this year.
Miss, do you think we'll have these type of hype build type updates at least once a year?
I think so, yeah. I just think that they kind of like doing that, and after shenanigans, anything is possible.
All right, Lillicate.
I have no clue. Move on.
Okay. Wow. Pineleaf, what do you think?
I will say there most likely will be something of this sort. They had something of this sort. They had something of this type for Wildermore. Remember when they added that? And actually, not this type. Theirs was well, maybe not quite Hoodball. It was helping the survivors. So I
Yeah.
would say Wildermore is somewhere about halfway between, I would say, Hoodbald and this one in its usefulness.
That was considered a major update.
Right. But it's more
Yes,
often...
but so Del Amroth is going to be a major update too.
It's...
And I thought we were going with minor updates this year, like smaller updates.
Well, we were doing it at least once a year was how I rephrased it. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I would say that there's going to be one after Dol Amroth, and probably with when we go down against the Corsairs also.
Yeah. I could imagine that happening. Drac, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely once a year on the major updates, I think you're going to see something like this, as there is precedence for it now. I think there's enough of them in the game to where they seem to think they work. So I think that's the route they're going to stick with.
All right. I don't know if they work or not, but I guess that's
Well,
for
I
them to
notice
figure
I
out.
said they seem.
Yep. All right. Were there any side quests, excluding the end game repeatable stuff? Were there any side quests in the normal type that you didn't like? And let's go around the horn here. Let's actually start with Drac this time.
Apparently not, because I can't even remember any of the side quests at all. So.
Well, that's a good sign, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, Pineleaf, what do you think?
Side quest. You said that's not part of the end game?
Right,
mean-
so
like,
not
the lead up stuff to the Fangorn dailies.
Yeah, because every side quest I could think of was related to Fangorn in one way or the other. It was
Right.
either
All of them
led
were
you
the
to there, it
repeatable
was
things.
helping them, had the Horon
Yeah, there
following
were a
you.
few. There were a few.
Not many, but
Not very many. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you're saying that there are some that had nothing at all to do with Fangorn?
No,
Anymore?
what I'm saying is quests that you did before you start the repeatables like Hypebolt stuff.
Yeah.
So
Like
any
the
of
lead up
those
to
side
it.
quests.
Okay, any of those side quests. Well, you mean because the only one I could think of is when the tree's following you around.
Right, and there's also some session plays and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, the session plays though are
Well, see, I don't.
considered
Yeah.
to be I consider that to be part of the epic, even though
Yeah, I don't
they're not
consider
mandatory.
them side quest either.
Well,
yeah,
there
but they're technically
are
side
the
quests.
quests you get from quick. There are the
No,
quests you get
I
from
think they're
quick beam
technically part of
before
the
you actually
epic.
go into Fangorn. Those would count, I would think, as side quests.
Yeah,
because they're
those as
not part
well.
of the epic.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, were there any of those that I didn't? Well, going through Fangorn, I don't know. I thought there were a couple of things. Biggest trouble I have with Fangorn is I feel like I have Mysteries title in there, and that is easily lost. And especially finding that stupid horn that transports you there.
Yeah, that's actually kind of hard to find, I gotta be honest. Luckily, you can get there on landscape now.
Yes, you can get there on landscape, but I found that
It
equally
takes a
at least
while.
annoying.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alright. Brax, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I know for a fact that there were some side quests before you got to the Entwood, because I screwed up the first time that I went out and I forgot to pick up the Epic at Helm's Deep and went on to Flooded Isengard anyway, and there was some stuff to do there. Not a whole lot, like Ethelroth said, but there was a few things. There's some auto bestow quests like burn the banners and all that garbage, but
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's tough to really gauge how good or bad those were, because they're just, compared to the Epic, they're just pretty forgettable.
Yeah.
I would say that they're about what I expected, but they sure didn't blow me away. They were just kind of, here's some additional things to do to gain reputation and XP if you still need some while you're doing the Epic.
Yeah, I think most of the side quests I was disappointed with because there just wasn't a story, and there wasn't even like a quantity. It wasn't really worth having the side quests, really, to be honest. I mean, it just felt like stuff to keep you busy until the next update, and kind of help them a little bit clean up the entire place that's completely flooded. And so really we're probably helping out Saruman more than anyone else, but that's a minor thing.
Go clean up Isengard. Here's your
Go
washcloth.
clean up the mess that the Ents made. It's not even like the mess that the enemy made. It's the mess that your own allied force made. But that's a whole nother topic. So yeah, that's probably my only real issue with it. What is your favorite side quest, Thelros?
Well, as you were saying, there aren't that many, and they generally don't have much of an impact. But probably the most memorable side quest I remember is where you get sent to look around Isengard for signs of orcs, and then you go into the gatehouse, and you find an orc being crushed by a chandelier,
Yes.
and I thought that was quite funny.
I love
Morbid,
that
but
quest.
funny.
Mm-hmm. All right. Brax, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm having the same problem that I always have with the side quest versus epic, which is I don't remember which is which. But there was another, either that same one where you look for orcs on each side of the Orthanc, or part of the epic where you do the same thing and you find find an ent that had been defeated and kind of mourn that loss and stuff. So I kind of remember that one. That might have been part of the epic, but I don't remember.
That was part of the epic.
Okay. Yeah, I always have that problem.
Yeah, yeah, they're hard to tell the difference.
Especially since there's so few side quests, it's really hard. And there wasn't a story associated with them. It's hard to tell. All right, Drac.
Yeah, the orc with the chandelier. If that was a side quest, I really thought that was part of the epic. But if that was a side quest, I really liked that one. I thought that was kind of funny, and I don't know, in a weird kind of way, it was funny to see that orc getting crushed by that chandelier.
All right, finally. The silence continues.
Yes, the silence continues. All right. What was the
Favorite side quest?
favorite side quest? Yes.
But this one's just tough because there wasn't a lot of side quests.
Oh, see,
it's
I
hard to
considered the session plays part of the side quests because...
Yeah, see, I don't consider those to be part of the side. I consider those to be part of the epic.
Yeah, I
So,
would too.
Therefore,
Even though they're not, but anyway.
I would say that my favorite will have to be the original planting of those seeds.
Hmm.
Not what follows up, not the grind that follows up afterwards, but the original planting of the seeds to a hope to that there is going to be something more. There is a future. Yes, out of all this, that there is going to be a future, a new generation.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really cool moment. I got to go with the orc being crushed, though. That was a fun quest. And definitely hats off to the landscape designers there, which, speaking of landscape, what are your thoughts about the landscape with update 13? And go ahead and describe your favorite areas or things that stood out to you. And Tharos, you are definitely the landscape guy, so why don't you go ahead and start us off on that?
Okay, I don't know when that happened, but I'll go with it.
Well, every time we do a review, it seems like you are the one that speaks most about how awesome the landscape is.
That was part of your promotion.
Indeed.
Okay. Probably starting with Isengard then. They did manage to appropriately create the devastation that the Ents had wrought on it. The gates, especially, you can just see they've been ripped clean off, and they did very well making it look ruined. At the same time, obviously, there's not a whole lot you can do with that version of Isengard because it was made like 2 years ago when their tech wasn't quite as good.
More than 2 years ago. It was 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, you compare Dunland and all that area to like even Grey River, and they're moving on to the two Rohans. It's night and day, the differences.
Mm-hmm.
But even so, they did manage to make do with a lot of the stuff. When you go underground or into the gatehouse, they did really well showing the water flooding in and all that stuff. And especially I think the first time I saw it was in the underground area where they managed to get proper waterfalls working instead of that foamy smoothie milkshake type thing that they have in all the older zones. And that was something I was very glad to see, to actually get a proper nice looking waterfall.
Yeah.
I think they've updated all the ones in the old zones as well, though.
No, they haven't.
A lot of them are still there.
Yeah.
I remember when when Andy and I were doing the preview of the underground Isengard, where you were previously held captive, which was actually a nice touch that you could look down under the water and see where you used to walk around and where the orcs and Uruks used to work and all that stuff. Because normally when you look below the water, there's just empty terrain. So it was nice to actually have that look back at how it used to be.
Yeah, it's so dark in there, but like the lights that are down below, like the flaming torches are still on. And so I don't know if that's intentional or not, but I would consider that a fun bug.
Yeah, and then there's those little bits of rock where you had like that one with the half orc and the urukai just like standing there with a flag. I just thought
Yeah.
that was funny because they're like, that's the only bit of land they have left. They're claiming it for Isengard.
Yeah.
Onto like Fangorn itself. A lot of people have said it's kind of like same old compared to Eves of Fangorn, which it is. It's just an extension of it, really. The main attraction of Endwood is that it's generally a bit more peaceful and less hostile than Eves of Fangorn. And
Yeah.
I did kind of notice that the main.
Yeah, it seems like the real Fangorn that you would have seen before the devastation that Isengard brought upon it.
Yeah. So the two main attraction areas in there are the is Dundingle, where the Ents have their Entmoot, which I thought was good. It's actually not quite what I was expecting it to be, but then I wasn't really sure what to expect from an Entmoot. So that was a bit odd. The Fangorn itself, it looks nice, as you'd expect. All the trees and the grasses, they can actually feel like a forest yet again, because they've pretty much perfected forests at this point, I think.
Yeah, they have.
On Welling Hall, which is Treebeard's home, that was probably my favorite area in all the Update 13 that they did. You have the waterfall in front, you go through it, and it's just really well lit. You can see all the like, I suppose you could call it crockery that Treebeard has, the bowls and all that stuff. It's just very, like, it feels like it's straight from the books.
Yeah.
Those areas do, and that was my main appeal to it.
All right. Drac, what do you think of the landscape?
I think there's nothing more to say. Etheros covered it all.
Hooray, I talk too much.
There's only nothing more I can add. I mean, he pretty much covered everything I was going to talk about. So,
All right, Brax.
Yeah, I liked Flooded Isengard quite a bit. I don't know. You had mentioned going down into where you used to be held prisoner, but excuse me. That even if you that big pit that used to be around Orthanc is now filled in with water, and if you swim over that, you can do the same thing. You can look down and see what was in there, because you used to have to take bridges over that when it was a pit. But so that was pretty cool. My wife pointed that out to me when we were playing through that together, and also the fact that you could kind of run up the hill towards the Entwood and see Orthanc from a different perspective than you could ever see it before. I took some screenshots of that when I first logged in.
That was a last minute addition in the beta, and I'm glad they added it in because it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Still there, Brax?
I guess not.
I guess not. All right. Well, Pineleaf, what do you think of the landscape?
Well, there isn't really all that much to add. It was all very beautiful. Of course, as usual, I found about 100 ways to get lost in the forest. And of course, it's maddening to get to the Entwood. And I would say, but that's not with the landscape itself. It's trying to figure. It's the idea of putting the end game in the end game. That's the name for the end game. The end game, yes. It's putting the end game in what's effectively the middle of nowhere, because you can't have stable masters and the like in that area. It would just be so silly for there to be a stable master there. At the same time, they give you that horn there, but that horn it's such a weird location that it's easy to miss. So, but that's not as much with the landscape as to where it's located.
Yeah.
But that's it.
All right. Yeah, I think they did a fantastic job with the landscape, as usual. I wish they would have done a little bit more, maybe revamping of the old Isengard area, but that's okay. It still did a fantastic job, and with the limitations they were in, they did an amazing job, especially in the flooded areas. I feel like that's where they really went to town. and like some of the like water spouts and stuff in there is just amazing. And I think that that's part of the reason why they decided to change the waterfall type so they could have that type of water tech in that flooded area. And I'm looking forward to Gondor and some of the water areas in there, because water is a huge part of Gondor, and I'm so glad that they finally perfected waterfalls, or made a big stride in them, because that's going to be a great thing, I think, and going to really help make the landscape look a lot more believable. And yeah, Treebeard's place is probably my favorite out of this new landscape. They did a great job, and the whole different type of forest, even though there's no enemies and not much to do there, it's very few enemies and not much to do there, it's still a really cool area, and I enjoyed it. Alright, on to class changes, which really there was only one class change, so this is kind of the ending monologue part of the review.
Champion changes.
Yeah, so champions finally had their red lines taken care of. If those of you that remember, for like the last ever, it was basically only viable to... I mean, you could do the other lines, but red line was the more powerful line. It made up more of your DPS, unless you had just a ton of enemies, in which case then maybe you'd want to go in yellow. But red line was the line. And then when update 12 came along with Helm's Deep, the class changes basically completely ruined red line. Not only did they slow down animations, they also way decreased the DPS and did a lot of other things that really annoyed a lot of the champions. And now it's back to feeling like the old champion in Redline. If you were that type of champion, it's back. And so I recommend anyone that might have had their champions on the shelf just waiting to for them to come back to their former glory, well, they're back, and play them soon, because they're probably going to get nerfed, because some characters I've seen on their champions have just been way beyond overpowered. I don't know exactly how they're doing it, but they're stacking a lot of the various skills together and getting some major damage coming out.
You mean like the Champu 3-shot me?
Yeah, he stunned you and then 3-shotted you. It was pretty funny. I laughed because I still haven't beat you in this part. But anyway, I think the champion changes were really great, and I hope that other classes see this happen, because right now the champion has all three lines about where they need to be. They still have some tweaks that they could use, but in general it's about where it needs to be. So I'm really happy with what they did. Alright, moving along on to the miscellaneous category. This is basically all the questions that are specific to the various UI changes and revamps and things like that. So the mail system got changed with update 13. What did you guys think about it? How many people are VIP, and what do you think of being able to open your mail away from the mailbox? That's just an open question, because I don't think there are that many.
All right. That particular update is one of those things that until you have used it, you think it's the most useless thing in the world.
Exactly.
Yep.
But
Exactly.
when you have the convenience to use it, is just like, for example, when during LOTRO Players Adventures, when we were setting up for it, Sprydra just sent me an acorn so that I could summon her. I didn't have to worry about looking for a mailbox in this strange particular base I was in. I could just click on an icon, grab the thing, and ready to summon her.
Yeah, it's a nice quality of life thing, and it's more than I thought. I didn't expect it to be, because I thought it was the stupidest sounding thing ever, and then using it, it's actually much more useful than I thought, and I'm actually don't want to get rid of VIP because of it now, to be honest, and other reasons, but that's definitely a contributor.
I grudgingly used the mail system to pop up wherever you are. Although I really do hate doing it. I find myself doing it. It's really convenient and nice. But I kind of kick myself when I do it, because like, you should be going to a mailbox. This is exactly what you said you didn't want. You didn't want us to be popping up letters wherever you are. Because I mean, my issue is that with all the NPCs and the mailboxes and stuff that is still in game, that's obsolete now. You don't need to use it, and I think that's detracting from my game a little bit. You know, you're not going to your trainer. You're not really going to the bard for your trade. So what's left in game? You're going to open your vault wherever you are without having to go to the vault person. You see, but it's so convenient and I'm using it, but I'm kicking myself every time I do. So I like the
Just with
bags as well.
RP.
Mm.
Oh yeah, I'm the same way because I was, I think, on record even on a previous episode where I said there's no need for that. It's just pointless. I don't understand why they're doing that. And then the first couple times I used it, I thought, man, this is amazing. This is awesome. I'm out here in the middle of nowhere and I'm getting my mail. I love this.
And sending multiple items, that is just brilliant. I love that.
I remember when they first announced this, and I was thinking, like, I know a lot of people at the time didn't think much of it either, and I kind of thought maybe it will be a bit more popular than that. Like a few people will like it, but for most they won't really care that much either way. It'll be like the gold Hobbit present. I'm actually surprised that it seems even way more popular than that.
Yeah.
Like it's a kind of a major appeal to them now because
Yeah,
it's that
for me,
kind of sweet spot of convenience where it's like a minor increase in enjoyability, but it happens so often that it's that constant, saving time. It's like another change that we'll probably mention later on the show that they made.
For me, it's exactly the same as not having to loot the corpse after you killed somebody, because I do it from like a couple of feet away. You know, you don't have to run up to that body and loot it. And I thought, I hate this. This is just immersion breaking and it's rubbish. But no, just I can kill you from a mile away and I can still get your stuff. Nice.
Auto loot, yeah. Can't go without it now. When I play like other MMOs where you still have to loot, I just think, oh, that's so archaic.
Yes.
I suppose it's worth mentioning they did also increase the attachment amount from 1 to 10, which is overdue.
Yeah, it's overdue, and I know it's a big deal for a lot of people, but I very rarely have to send that much stuff. It's great for auctions and things like that, though, I think.
Oh, I'm sending stuff all the time in multiples. It's brilliant. Brilliant. I love it. Yeah.
I just kind of wish you
Because,
could
I mean,
somehow package them into like one item box, and then you could like use that as like sending a present to someone.
Yeah, that would be the next step, I think. I mean, that'd be good.
Yeah, stick like how we delivered some of the items from Turbine. Yeah. I mean, I do generally save up all my crafting stuff that gets dropped on the landscape. So like all my scholar stuff gets sent straight to Aosel, who's my RL daughter, and she makes my dyes for me. So she always gets that, and I just, instead of having to meet up with her or even open her account and double box and pass them all over or send them one at a time, I just now in the mail, it's done, and I can open the mail from wherever I am.
But Atheros, I like that idea, the player present kind of idea. I want to see Atheros presents, Pine Leaf presents, Draculeta presents, and make them be daily, and just send them out to everybody. Oh, it'd be great. Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, actually, when you're talking about presents like that and having things, right, I was thinking about containers in Eve, where some people actually sell containers that you can't tell what's in them until you buy them. And I was like, only in Eve will someone buy something like that.
Yeah, Eve is the ultimate criminal game.
Yes.
All right.
Send Drac a picture of a red painted steed.
This needs to happen. All right. What do you think about the inventory revamp? They actually changed it now to where there's the auto sort feature. There's the ability to move your bags however you want in slots of 5, to where you can have one big bag or several small bags, or however you want to put together. What do we think about that, Tharos?
Basically, the way I see it is that they took the huge bag plugin and made it better.
Yeah.
that's really that's pretty much all I have to say about it. They took the being able to have one huge bag, and yet they also let you able to have it in any amount you want with however many slots you want. There's also the sorting feature they put in with 13.1 that is 10 times more efficient than huge bag, which tends to bug out and is really slow. The one they have in the game now is instant. Like, second you press it, it's done. It's just really nice and fluid the way they do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very happy with the inventory revamp.
Mist, what do you think about the inventory changes?
I like them.
All right. Anything else?
No, I just yeah, I like them. I think they're better, and I like being able to resize all my bags and stuff. I love having 10 slots on the mail. Yeah, I just love them.
Yeah. All right.
Although, yeah.
Lily Kate.
Well, I
So-
was going to.
Go ahead, Mist.
Well, I was just going to bring up, does inventory cover the housing chest? Because I don't like those.
What do you mean?
Well, because you buy your house and you get a chest and it's 30, and then you have to spend your gold to upgrade your chest. Now, in a kin house, you start off with your 30 slots. You pay, I think it's 8 gold to get your next level, and then more than that for your next level. And I spent 36 gold, and I still don't have my 90 slots. Yet to buy 3 chests the old way cost way less.
Okay, but that was up. That was
Several updates ago, Mist.
yeah, several updates ago. Update
Yes,
13,
I
in fact, they
know.
reduced the price.
Ah, well, it's still way too expensive.
Well, yeah, some will argue that, but it's not as expensive as it was before update 13.
Yeah, well, I only just bought a kin house, all right? And I've only just put in as much storage as I could afford. But, yeah, the old way, that way was better. But anyway, I digress. Sorry.
Suppose
But
we'll
it's
find
still
out when we do
in-
our adventures, Kin House.
If that ever comes to pass.
Oh, yeah, we have to go and get one, don't we?
Yep. All right. Pine Leaf, what do you think about the inventory changes?
Let us just say that I used to always use huge bag, and now I'm removing it from all my characters.
All right. I think that speaks for itself.
Now, I do use
Apparently not.
Titan Bar, as I mentioned in a later.
Yeah, I use that too, actually.
All right. And yeah, there's some nice features in there that hopefully they'll make it to LOTRO too. Brax, what do you think of them?
The inventory revamp. Yeah, I guess the one thing I kind of missed from Huge Bag is that when it was in widget mode, it was real easy to just slide my mouse over there and click it open.
Oh, yeah.
As opposed to having the little teeny bag icon down at the bottom with the regular UI. But I guess I've gotten so used to just pressing the I key now that it doesn't make that much of a difference anyway.
All right.
Except you do have to take your hand off the mouse to do that usually, like if you're in combat and you don't have buff bars and you want a potion or something. So that's kind of a pain, but...
Yeah. And Drac.
I like it, and I really like the auto sort feature. That is just amazing.
Yeah, one thing that we've mentioned before, but I want to mention again, is just how quick the auto sort feature is. It's fantastic. It does it instantaneously.
Which leads me to believe that they're actually sorting it already.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think you could do a pretty quick sort internally before you go and send it across the server. The trouble with Huge Bag is they had to do every iteration of the sort by talking to the server and going back and forth. I don't think there was anything client side there, or at least it was implemented in a way that was constantly going between client and server, and that's why it was so slow. And I think the fact that they just do the entire sort on the server side, it's very quick, and then they could send the results over, and it's done.
And he's the software engineer, so I'm going with him. But at the same time, it's really fast if it's not done that way. I agree, Jack. Alright, so PvMP changes. There were some balance and the ability to now go into the Etmors as a non-VIP. So, Atharos, you're definitely the other PvP guy, so why don't you start us off here?
I haven't set foot in the mall since ever in a while. But having been on the forums a fair amount, I tend to get the gist of what's going on there. The main thing with the scaling I'm finding is that while it's possible to go out there at obviously any level, pretty much any level from anywhere lower than 85, I think, you're basically worthless. Like, you're actually lower than a rank 0 creep, which is saying something.
Yeah, that being said, though, when you do start to get those ranks, it does change a little bit, I've heard, but...
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I think I've said this a few times before on the show, but I've always been of the opinion that the Moors and PV should not really be connected much at all, and it probably should be avoided as much as possible. The way I saw this was a good first step to completely segregating them, so that no matter how well you do in PvE in terms of virtues and deeds and gear, you are, as soon as you step foot in the Moors, no matter what level you're at, you are exactly the same as everyone else. And
Yep.
that's where I'd want it to be. And I think this might be a good first step to putting it there.
Yeah, what are your thoughts, though, on the mechanism in which they're letting non-VIPs?
Non-VIPs, personally, I would have wanted for myself just a permanent unlock, even if it was like fairly expensive having that option. But I guess in the interests of giving VIPs, letting them keep their perk of being able to do that, I guess this is a decent compromise.
Alright. Pineleaf, what do you think about letting non-VIPs in the way they are?
You think I really care?
Okay then.
It's pretty expensive, though. It costs a lot of Mythril coins
Yeah,
for
it is
not a lot
rather
of time.
expensive, and I know that Brannick gave me his opinion on the matter, and I don't think it's something that I can repeat on the air.
Alright, Lillicate, what do you think?
I think it's too expensive for them. I'll give them that. But I like the idea of letting the free-to-plays over in the PvP areas in general. Other than that, I have no expertise to comment further.
Yep. Alright, Mist, what do you think? Alright, Brax, what do you think?
The silence says it all.
She's off feeding the birds.
Probably.
I guess I'm kind of like Lily, where I like the idea, and so I guess, boy, this is tough because from a standpoint of a business model, I think it's the right way to go. But from the standpoint of somebody who, a consumer, a player, I would definitely rather have the option of going with a permanent unlock. But I could see where that's kind of like offering people lifetime accounts, though. You get a whole lot of money up front, and then you see nothing else afterwards. It just kind of trails off to nothing. So in order to keep that continuous revenue stream, you have to go with the temporary. So I don't know. I guess I wish you had the option, though. I think more options for players is always better.
Yeah, definitely.
Hello.
Hey, Mist.
I was here. I had my mic muted, and I forgot I had it muted, so you didn't hear what I said, and I'm not repeating it.
Alright.
That
Can
bad?
they do something like a rent-to-buy scheme where, like, if you're buying Mythril coins to go and spend time on the moors and you get to some ridiculous level of hours that you've achieved, you then kind of qualify for either some free time or to go whenever you want to.
And that would be something that I think that they should be doing, and it would make them more money, especially like the free time thing where, let's say, you like build up points, like a new type of point system that gives you time, or you get like Mythril coins back after a certain number of purchases in a row. I think that'd be something that would be
Some like
a value to
loyalty
the player.
scheme for the poor people that are forking out all these coins to go and spend some time
Yeah,
getting killed.
but honestly, the what I consider the mithril coin purchase is just an entry drug into the subscription, to be honest. I think for the people who are curious about PvP but never really wanted to pay the subscription, this is a way for them to try out and see if it's worth the subscription cost. I don't think anyone should be, unless you like just want to play, a couple hours every month or so. I don't think that anybody should really be using this method for their actual play in the Etmors for extended periods of time.
You're assuming that they're going to enjoy that 6 hours of getting slaughtered.
Yeah, and really you should be
Which,
with your friends if you're going to try PvP.
Which
One bank.
is another point, actually, regarding the balance, at least. The main gist I'm getting now is that Creepside has the advantage, and Defilers especially have gone from being the weakest class in the Moors to one of the most powerful in terms of survivability. They can pretty much out-heal anyone.
Which is kind
Of
of like what
course,
they did with the
this is
champion.
Assuming they ever heal.
Wow.
Yeah, of course. If they're not undying.
Wow.
Of course, bearing in mind this is coming from the LOTRO forums, so the source is not always accurate. Or reliable.
Oh,
Or a
not perfectly
representative
accurate?
sample.
Yeah. The gist, though, is that the momentum is on the creep side right now, and whether creeps are going to try and adapt to it or just leave is a different question.
Well, seeing how long the creeps stayed around when the momentum was completely against them, though according to the forums, the creeps on the forums though imply that the creeps are always crybabies who run away as soon as the
Did they take
balance
the
is.
chickens and go home? There was a bit like
No one can get a chicken, they can't get enough tokens.
Take their chickens and go home.
they haven't got a chicken, they can't get the tokens.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on the freak crying thing because I tend to be more heavily creep in terms of playing them.
Well, I think that part of the problem is that the majority of players are on Brandywine, and there's definitely a creep numbers advantage, and so I think that has a little bit to play with it, but maybe
yes,
not.
Which is, I think, more of a problem with the scaling, because I think that was intended to offset the creep buffs, because creeps tend to have the population advantage, being free and not having requiring a subscription. But the problem is the scaling isn't good enough that the ones who come out there can actually contribute that much outside of a certain specific lines. So if they can get the scaling to work properly so that a creep can come into the Moors and actually do decently, maybe not, they can't like solo a rank 12 warg or anything like that, but they can at least do something, that would probably help the balance a lot.
Yeah, one good thing
They'll
that
put them
they
onto the catapults in update 14.
one good thing they did that I forgot was the fact that you can now earn XP in the Moors because there's not the level requirement at 5 levels before cap, and so I think that's a good thing because the balance might be really bad, but if you really want to level your characters just in the Etmors, well, now you can. And I think that is a big plus to a certain crowd of PvP players.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so Pineleaf, you actually did a lot, you played through a lot of the region revamps. Why don't you go ahead and talk about your impressions of those, kick us off on that conversation.
Well, the only revamp where I did spend time in 2 of them. I'll take that back. I spent time in both the North Downs, where I have done about 2/3 of the North Downs, and I've also done probably the majority of the Misty Mountains on my Langeville character. So on 2 different characters, on a Runekeeper, I've done the North Downs, and on a Warden, I did the Misty Mountains. I have not really done anything in the Troll Shawl, so hopefully someone will be able to fill in that particular gap. And so far, everything seems to be running pretty well. Probably the biggest thing that, of course, is a problem is that the level of the area is a little bit out of sync with the epic storyline. in that the epic storyline is around level 30. The North Downs ends at level 30, at level 29 actually.
All
But
right.
the quest flow itself, that is much nicer. You're not going this way and that and all sorts of weird things. It's a little tricky getting used to the new flow of because the quests now flow in a different direction than they did before because I believe they used to send you to the elves, then to Esteldine, then to the dwarves, and now they send you to the dwarves first, then to the farms, which you were sent even before the elves, then to the elves, then to Esteldine. And you could see that in my video series, which I've been doing in Pinely Plays the Runekeeper. I've been going through the North Downs there. And anything else you want to know about it?
I think that's a good job covering it. This is just an open question. So what did we think of the revamps? Were they where we wanted them to be? Were they too little? Were they too much? I don't think they were too much, but what do you guys think of them?
Speaking as someone who mainly just has the experience of watching Pine Leaves and Cithris playthroughs for these, as well as touching on it in our, parts in adventures, I think it's about in terms of quests where I'd want it to be, except in a few areas where I wish they'd done a bit more. Goblin Town is probably the main one because it feels like it's pretty much unchanged from before, where it kind of needs
Yeah.
a lot more quests in it, an actual reason to be there.
Yeah,
Yeah, those
and
dwarves that are sitting.
and diversity because it's really just the exact same thing for the majority of Goblin Town, just
Well,
the
it
same
is-
areas.
It's a
Kill
goblin
goblins.
town.
That's true,
The
but
visuals is another. The visuals is another point. I will actually say that they did update the visuals in a few of the places. North Downs is the main one,
yeah.
where they kind of updated a lot of the character models and the actual buildings. Even like I think we noticed in one episode of Adventures where the new camp in the Misty Mountains actually has the new textures and the new landscape, where the trees feel like closer together and the grass is thicker and it feels more like a forest.
Yeah,
And
they actually took
can
some of
see
the forest
difference.
tech and put it into the Misty Mountains, which I thought was a great addition to it. They did a great job with that.
Yep, that was like that thing we really noticed, and it really stands out from the rest of the zone. Excuse me.
So, I can speak to a little bit to the Trollshaws. My wife and I discovered that we both have characters on Landrevel that are similar level, about high 30s. And I just happened to be sitting in the Trollshaws because last time I played LOTRO Players Adventures, that's where we were. So we started doing a little bit of the Trollshaws, and we've only got about 4 hours or so into it. So we're not heavy into that area, but I will say that there is more to do there. What I've noticed is mostly a lot of kind of daily Slayer quests that you pick up just by killing a certain animal that has a ring over its head, and so you can gain additional rep and XP that way. There's some additional stables on the west side of the Trollshaws, which was needed, and I haven't really noticed that the quest flow was that much better, other than some of those auto bestows and those Slayer quests that you can just pick up out on the landscape. But there definitely is more to do, as we know. Trollshaws was one of the weaker questing areas before, so I think they've improved it. Again, with the theme of the update, though, I'm just kind of okay on it. It's like, okay, that was probably needed, but it's not blowing me away.
All right. Anybody else? All right. Well, I do think that the changes were good from what I've seen. I do wish that they would have done a little bit more with maybe on the landscape side of things, but I think that that's excusable. They don't usually edit landscape, and so I guess it was an okay change. But I wish they would have maybe done a little bit more and maybe
I'm sure
tried to make
Mithra
it.
would love that too. I
Yeah.
think she wanted them to take a bulldozer through the place.
Well, the main thing is, they did, and I know it was a side project to do Bree, and they didn't do much landscape changes with Evandim, which is an actual revamp of an entire area. But I wish they would have gone and touched up Rivendell, touched up the Trollshaws, done some things like that. But that was just what I was expecting, and compared to their actual like full revamps and not just like surprise breed changes, I think that they did a good job. All right, let's carry on to the next topic, which is would you like the developers to go further with these revamps, so do a little bit more in the future going forward with these same areas? Tharos, what do you think?
I doubt they're going to for the zones they've
Right,
done.
but just
And
would
honestly,
you like them to?
I would like them to do something more with Goblin Town, and I'm not sure if Pineleaf's done much because I didn't want to watch any further, but I don't think they've done too much with Fornost either. Those sort of big enemy areas. I would like
when
them
you say Fornos, you mean the part outside of it, or the actual the landscape outside of it is now a solo region,
and
and
inside
before I think it was a group region.
Right, the whole inside of it too.
Oh, you mean the instances?
No, just
I'd
like
like
inside
to.
of it.
I'd like to keep some group areas in there. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they do have the other. You still have Doldin, and you have the other orc camp where you have to go in during the epic. Those two places are still group areas, but the areas outside of Fornost and all that's now designed for solo play.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, I just
if you
mean
yeah.
I just mean like inside Fornos, but not in the instance like that one camp we went to before.
Yeah, that camp now has the landscape quests that are given out there are now solo quests. I do have that in my playthrough series. Now they still give quests for the instances inside Fornos, and those of course are still group quests.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those sort of areas I would like them to do more with. Like personally, I wouldn't mind them being maybe not completely group focused, but being more challenging than the surrounding landscape at least. That much I would like them to do more with. I was saying like hub revamps like Bree that they did to Bree. I would like something with Rivendell, but at this point it's probably not going to happen.
Yep. All right. Any other talking points that anyone wants to bring up on Update 13 or Update 13.1? All right, we will go on to final thoughts. So let's start off by were there any secret areas or things that surprised you about Update 13? And let's start off with Brax.
I think the only surprise was during the epic story when old No Name showed up again, because I had totally forgotten about that character. I for some reason I guess I thought we took care of her one other time before.
Oh
Isengard
no,
or
I was
something,
sure
but-
we were going to run to her again.
I think you've done the epic like 25 times. No, so that was kind of a surprise to me to see that she was wrapped up in this this whole conclusion.
Yeah, I was surprised how involved she was. All right, Tharos.
It probably surprises no one that mine's more on the landscape, which is that in Update 13 there's a path now that runs from the flooded version of Isengard through the mountains and onto the cliff above Woodhurst in the Stone Deans. And sorry. Yeah, I know, I can't get rid of them. I lost track of what I was saying. The path there heading up towards Isengard is a really nice lead up to it, and the view when you get there is quite impressive. It's probably not lore appropriate, because if Saruman knew about that, which he should have, he probably would have used it to help his invasion of Rohan. But,
yeah.
But it's still nice to have. It gives the landscape more coherence, because before that, Isengard felt kind of isolated from everywhere else. Now it feels a bit more open.
Yeah, even though it's supposed to be isolated, but it's definitely worth the trade-off, I think. All right, Drac.
I don't know. A lot of people might not call it a surprise, but during one of the end session plays, I won't spoil it in case anybody hasn't done it. There's one point that I really liked, and I thought it was just so funny. I literally laughed out loud for like 5 minutes, and I just sat there and watched it. There's something the hobbits do during one of the end session plays that is just hilarious. And if you've done the session play, you know what I'm talking about. I just really like that. That was kind of a little, like I said, I don't know if you call it a surprise, but that was just like a little nice touch that I think they threw in that I really enjoyed.
All right, Pineleaf.
Well, I'm not sure if this is what Drek meant, but I would say that let's say when we had an opportunity to experience the rate of perception of an ant.
Yeah, that was a good moment.
Yes, that was a great moment.
All right, Mist. Any moments that
Yes.
surprised you or that you found secret
Well,
areas or anything?
I'm sort of trying to get my head around the fact that Treebeard has a house that someone mentioned earlier, because I haven't been up there to look.
It's a
but
cave.
I'm sort of.
Yeah,
Oh, good. 'Cause, you
Yeah,
know,
it is straight out of the books.
Yeah, it's straight out of the books.
I was kind of wondering what a tree made a house out of.
Not a tree house.
No. Mm.
So yeah, but yeah, that's, I don't know. Update 13's update 13. So yeah, that's all I can say.
All right, Lillicate.
I am really looking forward to those things you've just been talking about because I saw them on a live stream, and that's just going to give me giggles out loud, that is. So I'm just trying to get this content done, get Rowan done as quick as I can, but still enjoy it, and get through to Western Rohan, but still enjoy it, just so I can catch up with you guys, and then hopefully the next review we do, I'll have something to talk about.
Yeah, for me, I have to say some of the parts of the epic story really surprised me. I didn't see them coming, but I think that the thing that probably surprised me most was how well they did Treebeard's house cave thing. That was really, they did a really great job with it, and I look forward to see what they come up with next. All right.
I want to go to Entmoot with T's on the end.
Yes. Alright, what is your least favorite part about Update 13? Are there any changes or things that they added that you wish they didn't? And I guess this technically includes Hobnobbigans, but please don't choose that because I think we all know that we don't like that very much.
It's
So
the best part.
that's the next question. But anyway, what's your least favorite part about Update 13? Pineleaf. We're actually going to start with you for once, and don't
You're
disappoint
gonna
me.
start with me. Don't disappoint you.
Yeah.
What my least favorite aspect of Update 13? I can't even think of anything that I. Oh, actually, I will say the way the pointless manner of the daily quest. As we said earlier, if it were to maybe replant a deforested area, it would be great and feel useful. But doing these quests that an ant would be 10 times more competent to do, I think we're just being useless. And why are we there?
Yeah. Atharos.
I'll try and keep the hiccups to a minimum. Aside from Hobbigans, the
This is a family
addition
show.
probably the addition they made to epic battles with these deeds that give you class points.
Oh,
I don't like because I don't like the idea of getting class points from any kind of repeatable content content like that. Even skirmishes or classic instances, I wouldn't like them there either. That's
Yeah.
just a personal dislike of mine, though. There isn't really much about this update that I outright dislike, and I just stop talking now.
All right, Drac.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the whole pointless Entwood dailies.
Yeah.
I don't see the point of them. They're just stupid, and the whole random number generator thing you have to deal with to get one of the trees is just pointless.
Oh, good grief.
Because we all know how the random number generator and I get along. So yeah.
All right, Kate.
Least favourite part about update 13 is I'm not anywhere near Isengard yet to enjoy it. So I'll let you guys know once I've played it if there's anything that I really hate about it. I'm sure there will be something.
All right, well, when we're doing the
But,
Mordor review, you can let us know.
No, I'm going to catch up. I'm going to catch up. Just watch me.
All right, you'll probably be ahead of me someday. But anyway,
Yeah,
Miss.
we'll run into her in Dol Amroth.
Yeah, well, I'll be chatting up the prince.
Yeah.
I saw him first, missed.
No, you didn't.
Wow, that's
I'm
gonna
going
be a whole episode someday, I think.
I think the prince is going to be in Minas Tirith by then. In which case,
Pineleaf, you're ruining their plan. Come on.
No, I know the plan.
we'll do quest. We'll do
First
quest for his
screenshot
daughter.
wins.
Ooh, I like this idea.
Really?
Game on.
Missed. What's your
Yes.
least favorite part?
I wouldn't know since I haven't done any of that Entwood stuff that you guys seem to hate. So, yeah, there really isn't a least favourite part.
All right, Brax.
I'd actually forgotten about the what Ethelros brought up about tying skill points to epic battles. I don't like that either. I guess I would vote for that. But one thing that we haven't mentioned yet is, well, actually we touched on it earlier, I guess, was that we didn't really get to see the dam come down and have the water come down into Isengard, and we didn't get to actually witness the conversation between Gandalf and Saruman. I think that if there was areas of improvement, I would say focus on those two things as part of the story, which is what you're trying to. Turbine has said is their main focus is to tell the story they want to tell. That would be a way to improve what the update was.
I mean, at the very least, you think they could have done the breaking of the staff. I mean, that wouldn't be that hard in theory. But
Obviously,
maybe not.
the people who created this cinematics thought it would be, because it was something. They had this scene where Gandalf says your staff is broken, and they didn't do it. And I can only think the only reason they didn't do it is because they couldn't find a way to do it technically.
But couldn't you just have like his staff be replaced by an object that stands like right next to him and have it break in two and be done with it?
Oh, just snapped in two. It doesn't have to shatter, does it?
Well, all right. I guess you got a point there.
I mean, I don't know. Anyway, my least favorite part was there's a few things, but I think it probably has to be the points in the epic battles. I don't know why they decided to do that. I don't really have that much of an issue with it, just because it's just how many points you have to get. I think if it was maybe a little bit lower, it might be more feasible. And maybe if it was just 1 point instead of 2, I think that would be better.
I have a small issue about those promotion points being available in store too.
Yeah, but you only get 10 of them at once, and you need like 100 for a point, and they each cost like 300 turbine points or something around that area, which is just ridiculous. When I found out how expensive it was, there's no one that, I mean, I think buying the first 10 points is worth it just because you can get a little bit of a start on the epic battles for each of your characters and maybe get close to the first rank. But aside from that, there's really no point to buying it unless you just have a ridiculous amount of money just lying around in your
More money than
bank.
sense then, not like me at all.
Yeah.
Much.
All right. Well, let's go around to my favorite part, which is the favorite part of Update 13. And let's start with Drac.
I think it's a toss-up between the end play and the epic story.
All right. Itharos.
God. There's a lot of little things I like about this update, and then there's the epic story and landscape as usual, which is incredible. But I'd have to say my favorite thing about this update is just the way it came about. Because as I think we talked about in previous show, is they changed the way they manage the Bolrora, and just the communication and the way they gradually progressed the update as the rounds went on. It felt more like a beta, an actual beta, compared to the previous update, which is more like just a preview. Here it is. Here's what's going to look like in about 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, they
This
took it
actually felt like you
seriously.
were making some progress. Exactly.
Yeah.
That is what I like most. And I think it's kind of more, it shows more again the kind of communication that's really been increasing since Rowan came back. And I'm very pleased to see it.
All right, Pine Leaf.
Favorite part? Getting my mail without having to find out.
All right, Lillicate.
Well, that finishing Volume 3 finally.
Well, I know after I play through the content, my favourite part is basically going to be the Fangon forest landscape. That is just going to be thrills for me, especially looking for little creatures. At the moment, my favourite part has to be Hobnanigans, because I really do like it. Especially when we get in teams.
All right then. You'll have to invite me to one of your fun sessions of Hobnanigans, because I'm not having fun.
Yeah, I'll have to instruct you all how to have fun. Sorry, I don't think I can.
All right. Mist.
Yes, well, I would say my favourite part at the moment is the update to the mail. And, yeah, being able to do 10 items and all that sort of stuff. And I'll let you know when I play through the rest of it.
All right, Brax.
My favorite part is the Hobbit attack skill that you get during end play.
Yes, that's awesome.
So you do get to have a Hobbit pair as an N. Oh, that's gonna be so cool.
Yeah, those were awesome. Yeah, that was great. My favorite moment is the fact that Volume 3 concluded and it was on the level of the Volume 1. And so I think that was a big plus in their record, and I'm very excited to see what they do for Volume 4 moving forward. I'm really looking forward to it. All right. Well, it's now that time where we give our scores for the updates. Just a reminder that this is just scoring based on updates, not expansions. Don't compare it to a big, ginormous thing that you have to pay an obnoxious amount of money for. Just compare it to other updates like Wildermore and things like that. Alright, keeping that in mind, who's going to be the victim? Drac. What do you want your score to be for Update 13 and 13.1?
I am going to give it a C. And that is because I think it was a little short, and then again I'm going to refer back to the pointless Entwood dailies.
Alright. Etharos.
There are two scores I want to give it. I'm not sure which one to go for yet. I'm really stuck between them. It is short, and that is the main drawback of this update. I think I was kind of hoping for a bit more in terms of side quests from in Isengard and the Entwood, and that's what kind of puts it off a bit. But there's just so much good the bits of stuff that I like from it. The crafting inscription is a good thing. The disabling confirmation dialogue is a good thing. The auto fellowship thing is a good thing. And obviously, getting the 3 zones that I wanted revamped most, getting all 3 of them in one update is just really good. And then, of course, like I said earlier, the communication, the way they developed the update is just, I was very pleased with that too. So it's either a B plus or an A minus, and I'm still not sure which one to give it.
All right. Well, do you think that the update was a B plus or an A minus?
You might have to give me a couple of minutes to decide.
All right, we'll let you decide in the fine print later on. All right, Pine Leaf. What do you want
A
your score to
minus.
be? A minus. All right, that
And
was a good score.
Yes, and I feel that way because overall I was very good. The only reason why it's gone down to an A minus is due to the pointless dailies.
All right. And Mist.
Yes. Since I haven't done the pointless dailies, I can only score on what I do know, and I actually quite like it, so I was gonna sort of give it an A.
All right.
I think I'd actually have to go for an A minus. Because of what Piney said, pretty much. There's just so much good stuff in this update that even the downside of having not much actual new stuff to do, the rest of it just overshadows it almost completely. So yeah, I'll go for an A minus.
All right, Lily Kate.
End play with Hobbit Pet. A minus. Just on that, never mind all the rest of it. Just end play with Hobbit Pets.
All right, and Brax.
Yeah, that's a good point. They did do a lot, considering this is supposed to be a smaller update than the Wilder Moor and Great River regions that they've done before. But again, I go back to nothing really completely blew me away other than maybe the epic. So I'm going to go with the B minus.
All right. Yeah, there were a lot of quality of life changes, a lot of, they did the revamps, and that's something that I have to keep reminding myself, that they revamped 3 zones. They also did, a lot of other things, not to mention concluding the epic story. At the same time, it is really kind of wimpy, the fact of their whole end game forest thing, especially the fact that it doesn't take place in a place that needs help most. There's an entire forest that got burnt down somewhere, and we're off helping this nice little quaint forest. I don't know. It just seems very counterproductive. Anyway, I think that my score for this update probably has to be a B. I can't give it anything higher than that just because there weren't really very many side quests or anything like that. But they still had these zone areas for there to be these side quests, and so I kind of feel like that they had landscape they didn't really give the full potential of. And so, I don't know. I wish they would have done a little bit more with it, but at the same time, the epic story was so great that I think it deserves a B. Alright, well, that was our review. Thank you guys so much for listening to our fairly lengthy review of Update 13. And we will be back again, of course, for the Update 14 review whenever that comes along. So now back to you, Pineleaf.
Thank you, Ending. For donations, let's give a big thanks to Carolyn for a $5 or more donation to LOTRO players. And thank you for the great show. If you get a chance, please mention that the schedule for the Spring Racing Carnival, May 17th, can be found at windyacres.mymiddleearth.com. Thanks. And also a big thanks for Michael for a $10 or more donation to LOTRO players. If you would like to help LOTRO players, you can simply go to the donations page where you can help support the podcast of LOTRO players and also help support the site. We have $5 and $10 mentions where you can donate and get a mention on one of or all of our active podcasts for an episode, depending upon the amount. For $5, you can get a mention on the podcast of your choice. For $10 or more, you can get a mention on all of our active podcasts. For feedback, we did not receive any reviews from iTunes, but if you would like to send one, please go to iTunes and provide us with a review. Now, as for comments, Amber Flower left a comment on episode 45 of LOTRO Players News. Huge Bag does still have one feature I like, the ability to see what is in your vault, as well as all your other characters' vaults and bags. If LOTRO could add that as well, I will be a happy hobbit. And I replied, I currently use Titan Bar, which is by the same programmer as Huge Bag. Titan Bar includes vault and bag examination features, so I don't need Huge Bag to use those features.
All right.
As for emails, we did not receive any emails this week. It's been a bad one to receive nice, lengthy emails, but
Not poems either.
I know it's been a long time since we've had a poem. I'm just throwing that out
not
there.
that long ago.
Pineleaf just doesn't want to read it. Don't listen to him. It's been a while. It's been a while. Please send in a poem. We'd really appreciate it. Also, our 50th episode is coming up. This is our 46th episode. We just have a few more left before 50. I would like to point out that we would like to have your audio responses or comments or things like that for our 50th episode coming up. And you can email those in as audio files, just as an MP3 or some other audio type. If I can't read it, I'll let you know. But yeah, we'd appreciate to have those, because that is coming up. And also, send in email comments and things like that.
Yeah.
We'd really appreciate it.
And if you would like to make any email comments or send any of these sound bites, then you can mail us at lotroplayers.mymiddleearth@gmail.com, and you can also follow us at Twitter, LOTROPlayers @LOTROPlayers, Andang @PVMP_Andang, Braxwolf @Braxwolf, Draculetta @Draculetta_72, Etheros @Etheros, Lilykate @LilyKateBuggins, Mystery @MysteryXOX, and Pineleaf @Pineleaf Needles. And you can join us live each week. LOTRO Players Adventures goes live every Saturday at 5 p.m. server time. And LOTRO Players News goes live every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. server time, and that is United States Eastern Time. And you can join us by going to lotroplayers.com/live, and be sure to join us at our YouTube chat. Thank you for watching, and this is Pineleaf Needles, and remember to skirmish responsibly.
Don't play Hobnanigans.
Play Hobnanigans.